Hello and welcome everyone to the second episode of the brand new show about American football. It's called Road to Superbowl. If you not know that this is promise that I made that I will be back very soon with the second episode, you probably did not watch episode number 1. You need to do better in life or with your life or whatever. But just for you, I will tell you what this show is all about, and I will put link into description so you can watch what I think about Chicago Bears, where they are, and how they will, hopefully for them, reach their glory and reach for the Super Bowl. So, what is this show all about? It's all about a guy from Czech Republic absolutely loving the game of football for over a decade right now, but with no pedigree before that. I did not know it's a sport almost before that. I only heard about Super Bowl. I've never played it, but I absolutely love it. I have some pedigree in psychology, in financials, in management, and in sports in general, because I used to play ice hockey, I used to play basketball, etc. Some bit of tennis, and I'm not sure if you count chess. So yeah, that's me. Here I will be talking about every single team you have in the NFL, or we have in the NFL. So your favorite team will come out, but we'll do it in the draft order, in the current draft order. Not in the current draft order because Vikings made the move, so they pushed some picks later, but it's like the draft order that was set up like a month ago, so we go by then. So after the Commanders, you can expect very soon episode about Patriots. Why is it called Road to Super Bowl? Easy. The answer is very easy. I will try to give you a look, maybe behind not a fan eyes, not a coach's eyes, but behind general management, behind the GM, how he maybe sets up the organization, how he tries to rebuild and actually optimize his team's success and their chances to potentially ever win a Super Bowl. So I will be talking about their moves, what I would make differently, if I agree, disagree, etc. But it's more about not viewing it just as a fan, but trying to look into contracts, etc., etc. So with no further ado, let's start with Commanders. And well, where to start with Commanders? It's kind of obvious, isn't it? We have to start with the QB situation and their weaponry, which is like this first part of this show, or of this podcast, or whatever you want to call it. I don't really care. It's up to you guys. We were entering last season. If we were a Commander fan, we were entering a season with a promise of young, talented QB and Sam Howell that showed big arm, showed some flashes, and he was actually kind of fell into in draft if he was a fifth rounder, despite year before his draft stocks were almost top pick, so his draft stocks really fell, and you might thought that you made a steal in the draft. And for first half of the season, it actually looked like it. I mean, there were some ugly moments, but somehow it looked like, yeah, he might be the guy. The very interesting thing I feel like is if you would have a committee that would be questioning who is better, halfway through last season, Sam Howell or Jordan Love. I feel like the votes would be actually quite close, It would actually, I feel like it would be quite close. And now here we are, 5 months later, approximately, and Sam Howell has been traded from the Washington for pretty much nothing. It's just a swap of 4th and 6th in exchange of 3rd and 5th, so it's something, but not really much with Seattle. And we talk about Jordan Love as potentially, yeah, Green Bay again. They did it. They found a guy. They have another Favre or Rodgers. how many things change, how perception change in like this short span of time. It's crazy, and like that's that's actually why I absolutely love the NFL, because it's any given Sunday. It's absolutely crazy. It's absolutely wild. There's so much variance that, for me as like a math guy, uh, I'm kind of nervous of it because it's like really a lot, because it's just 17 games in a season, one game at playoff, one bad referee call, one goal line call that did not work out, that can break your franchise. And this comes from the point of being hurt as a Seahawks fan, like 10 years ago. Just run the damn ball, you know. So, but that's why I absolutely love American football. I'm sorry, guys, if you. Okay, I love American football for my viewers in Europe, and I love football for my American viewers. I'm sorry, guys. I need to make this display, because here in Europe we call soccer, we call it football. But that's how things changed with like perception of Jordan Love, and somehow. And with Jordan Love, just a spoiler to the Packers video, it's even more crazy that he played like an absolute monster. The end part of the season, the end part of the regular season. But I think what really cemented him as people actually trust him a lot. Maybe Packers will give him an extension even this summer. That would be worth like 50 million a year. I heard these numbers. It's the playoff when he went to Dallas and just demolished Cowboys, and then went to Toronto with the 49ers. But again, like a sneak peek of my Seahawks hurt heart, and slightly even a brain. If Seahawks beat the Steelers with Mason Rudolph at home, there is no playoff round for Jordan Love. Again, that's how thin the margins are. That's how variance is crazy in terms of NFL. So let's go back to the Commanders and their QB weaponry situation. So somehow no longer in town, and who is in town is Marcus Mariota. And I do like this signing. It's 1 year veteran signing. And why I do like it is because I am close to 100% sure that Commanders will select Drake May, number 2 overall, trusting he is the guy to build this franchise around. He is the guy that's going to make it in the NFL. And while he's not entering most likely Caleb's situation in Bears in Chicago, where I feel like that's really unheard of for a first pick QB to enter such a great situation for him. And to me, it's like really the only knock on the situation in terms of offense is like, yeah, they have defensive head coach, and it's the Bears. Okay, 2 knocks. Sorry, Bears, but you know the drill by now. You've been mocked for a long time by the general public, not only me. Sorry. And I actually feel like you are on really good direction. Let's go back to the Commanders. So Drake May, I very, very much believe he's gonna be the number 2 pick, and that's actually why I like cleaning house. Getting something for somehow, even though it's really not much, and getting a veteran presence in Marcus Mariota, and because I feel like, despite this is not as bad situation that potentially Jaden Daniels would enter with Patriots, spoiler alert, it's really not great situation, right? It's like, it's what you would kind of expect that young QB can thrive in, but you are definitely not sure or not even expecting it. So I feel like if you feel like Drake May isn't ready, you just start Marcus Mariota. In terms of like current ability, they should have like similar qualities right now, so you're not like messing up with your season, and you can let him on the bench, make the game slow for him, get slower for him, and give him that experience from the bench. Start him later in the year, or just have him ready for next season. But I strongly believe that's the case, and I like it for Commanders. And why I would not rush him, and why I actually like that they brought Mariota in, is this weaponry, this group of weapons Starting with running back room, it's not something you would write home about and be excited, like super excited. Uh, they let go Antonio Gibson, which, yeah, he is not what do you call like a great running back. I have him as a decent starter, a guy that's ideally your number two or maybe your number three, and you can use his skill set in just the absolute right way for him. And you are left with Brian Robinson, Chris Rodriguez, and Austin Eckler, which you have brought. And I feel like that's an upgrade from Antonio Gibson. I think Eckler is slightly better player, and also he kind of comes with like chip on his shoulder, I would say, because like 2 years ago he led the league in touchdowns, and as the running back market dictates, he didn't really get paid for it. That's an unfortunate situation. So he signs here 2 year 8 million. Nothing really spectacular for him, but I feel like he will try to prove himself. He will try to prove the league wrong, and he will hope that still in 2026, when he is gonna be, let me see how old Austin's gonna be 2026. I think it's gonna be around 30. But let me see. Yeah, he's gonna be, entering that season as a 31-year-old player. So maybe he can get another contract like this and not necessarily just settle for veteran minimum if he's still around. And with Brian Robinson, I think he showed enough that he deserves to be one of your two guys. Chris Rodriguez, I have a grade of unproven good backup, because I think the flashes he showed are the flashes of a good backup running back. With obviously, him being his second year, he can definitely get better. But he didn't get that many touches that I would like. Yeah, I'm happy with him as my backup. And then we go and we check the wide receiver room, and it's really Terry McLaurin, as you see right here. Scary Terry. Kind of similar to like how I view DJ Moore, though I feel like DJ is on that next level. That's why I have him marked as elite guy, while Terry to me is only amazing starter, but he is definitely wide receiver number one, someone that's desperately missed, like in Patriots, where we would talk about maybe drafting Jaden Daniels into that situation. So that's why you are much better set than, for example, teams like Patriots. But behind him, you have Jahan Dotson, who had quite an intriguing rookie season, but he did not follow up on that last year, which is obviously something you hate to see, because he's a former first round pick, and it was not just Sam Howell is a disaster type of bad performance from him. He also made some ugly drops, didn't get separation that much, and he was healthy the whole year, but he really didn't make impact, at least in my view. So we kind of hope that he can follow up on his draft pick, he come back to what he was or what he showed year one, and be that number two guy that you here would need. They let go Curtis Samuel, bringing Jamison Crowder. Not really mentioning this guy because, yeah, he's probably gonna play, but yeah, not a guy that interests me very much. I feel like he is just just a guy, like your 4 or 5 wide receiver. And if he can come back to what he was like 2019, then okay, that's a valid signing. But other than that, I don't really see the quite high upside or like the need to talk about him much more than that. And then you have Dyami Brown entering his final year of a rookie contract. You hoped that by now he would be, I mean, at least a guy like Curtis Samuel, decent starter. He really did not develop. But I still have faith that maybe he could. I feel like in this room that is not very deep, or behind there that is not that good, I feel like he could get an opportunities this year. and maybe show, in his contract here that he is worth extending. So that's the Amy Brown for you. Where you have his here you have his picture and collectible card. I think Jahan Dotson should really focus on not shushing his critics but listening to them and actually improve his game by that. And Terry is just I guess he's happy that he might actually have a finally quality QB that would be passing him the ball. And in terms of tight end room, again, really nothing that would interest me that much. In Zach Ertz, John Bates, Cole Turner, it's gonna be one of the worst tight end rooms in the league. Well, is there anything to add to that? Like, Zach Ertz was really beaten by Trey McBride last year to the point that they cut him week 7 or what it was. They really didn't need his service down there in Arizona. And here he's a veteran option that should still do some work, but yeah, this is kind of an ugly room with not even that much upside. So overall, this offense needs some work. 2026 for Terry, that's not his dead cap, that's not his cap hit, that's his dead cap, They don't have him signed for $5.6 million in 2026, even though I'm pretty sure they would love that, as everyone. But when you look at this group, I feel like you address Drake May, first round, you have kind of enough pieces that he should not look like a Bryce Young, and you have that Marcus Mariota option in case that it really is ugly for him. So overall, yeah, I'm kind of okay with the situation in terms of weaponry. It's nothing that you should be absolutely excited, but it's not horrible, And if Jahan Dotson makes that leap, if Jamie Brown actually shows his potential, then we can talk. Then we can talk that this is actually quite a good room. But that's some big ifs. Now let's go and talk about the guys that will protect Drake May, most likely. And we'll start with the tackles. And here you see just one tackle that is under contract. That is Andrew Wiley, right tackle. And you have Charles Leno here and Cornelius Lucas. Both of them are not signed, and Charles Leno has actually been cut by the Commanders. Here negates Samko Smith, Trenton Scott, and Ricky Stormback, Nick Allegretti, and Tyler Biadasz. Just by the sheer amount of players that I have here, it also says that either the room is very deep and very good, or it's very deep because it's not very good. That's kind of how is it gonna go with O-line. If I have a lot of players that I want to talk about, in terms of O-line, it means one of these two things, and in this case, it means the second. It's deep because it's not that good. And here you can look how it looks, how it looked before the free agency, and here is how it looks right now. Here I'm missing Charles Leno, who has been cut, and he actually carries 8.25 million in dead cap for the season, while by releasing him they saved 7.25 million. And that's the first move I will bash. I will bash for Commanders. And it's is Charles Leno a guy? I have him as a good starter. Is he a guy that is worth 16 or 15.5 million a season? I think close, but no. But you have not saved 15.5 million a season. You only saved 7.25 in cap space, right? Is Charles Leno worth 7.25? Absolutely. And Also, the fact that he is the left tackle, that he should be protecting blindside of Drake May. And right now, I don't really see who the left tackle is going to be. If they bring Cornelius Lucas back, which they have not done it by now, if they try to swing Andrew Wiley to the left tackle, move Sam Cosmis back to the tackle position, I don't really like that idea, but it could be something that they are thinking about. But overall, this is one of the moves I really don't like. From value perspective, I don't like it because I feel like he's definitely worth that 7.25 that you saved. And from just the position wise, in terms of where you are not optimizing the season, money for the season. You need to protect your asset, your best asset, and that is presumably going to be Drake May. So cutting left tackle for this, I don't know. I don't like it. Obviously, there were some declining in his game. There were injury concerns with Charles Leno. I get all of this, but still, no. To me, one of the worst moves this offseason actually. Like, my grade on this is D. Maybe they will prove me wrong, but I don't like it. So that's my take. When you look at the rest of the online and the moves that they made, yeah, then they are growing on me, with these moves. So really the two moves were bringing Tyler Biadasz and Nick Allegretti. Tyler Biadasz, I feel like you are getting decent enough center for the future years. He's still young, he can still improve, he played a lot, he has a lot of experience. And yeah, absolutely no problem with that. To me, it's like similar signing to Andrew Wiley last season. You are not paying premium for not a premium player. Here maybe there is some more potential with Tyler. This also is that money. It's not how he signed. I will make sure that this is more clear when we talk with the next presentation. Sorry about this, because right now the 2027 and 2028 look much better than they actually are for Tyler Biadasz and the Commanders. But this is that cap that he carries over. And with Nick Allegretti, I think he's a good backup. I don't think, to me, he doesn't scream a starter. But I'm kind of glad that I feel like he's gonna get this opportunity. It's gonna be probably Biadasz, Cosmi, Allegretti in the inside, Andrew Wiley right tackle, and I still don't know what you do with the left tackle position. Hence why releasing Charles Leno, but okay, I will move past this. He's gonna get the chance. He proved to be like decent piece in terms of Chiefs rotation in this, not rotation, but mainly like a backup spot in the inside of their offensive line. And again, you are paying to protect your asset in Drake May. I like that. You are not paying, you are not overpaying, I think. And hopefully, maybe you can find a better piece than Allegretti, and then he slides back to his position as the first backup for the guard spot. In terms of other guys, not really much to talk about. Ricky Stromberg, maybe a guy that have some potential. Maybe they will try to play him as a guard, because I feel like he is not their future center, given how they signed Biadasz. So maybe he's gonna get some reps. They will try to move him around like that. I really hope that they won't try to bring Cosmi back to the tackle and Wiley to the left tackle, because I feel like Cosmi will really find himself at that guard position and just swinging it up for trying to find your answer to left tackle and moving guys like this. I would not like that, man. So let's sum it up. How do I view the Commanders offense? Where is it heading, in future years? So presumably with Drake May, this group is gonna be one of the worst groups overall in the NFL. It doesn't matter whether it's with Drake or Marcus, but they have pieces to build around. You know, you're probably gonna have to pay Cosme next year, but I think he is very good piece in terms of your offensive line. Then you have some really good, ideally your backups or like your cheap options, starters, Andrew Wiley, Tyler Biadasz, Nick Algretti. So that online kind of set. And in terms of weaponry, you have Scary Terry for a couple of years, and you hope that Jahan Dotson, Diami Brown actually improve, while your running back room is kind of fine, and your tight end room is pretty bad. So yeah, overall, really one of the worst groups overall in terms of the league. But I see vision. I see you actually paying guys that I think you should be paying because of having a rookie QB that you want to build around, and you are putting him in good enough spot that he should not get absolutely blasted like Bryce Young did last season. I'm sorry, Panthers, because I will be probably using this analogy a lot, because I felt like you have done actually what absolutely should not be done to a young QB, and you will just be that mark from which we will be counting like how much better the situation is for this guy entering this situation than it was for Bryce Young last year, with Adam Thielen as your number one weapon and literally having like pretty much no guard play whatsoever. But okay, that's enough for Carolina, and for now it's enough for the Washington offense. Now let's talk about their D-line and their linebackers. So it's like a year and a half, and we would be talking about, wow, what a D-line, right? 4 former first round picks, Chase Young potentially like the worst piece of the D-line, which sounds crazy or would sound crazy like 2 years ago to anyone who would watch Chase Young play in his rookie season. But it's gone. You've traded Montez Sweat, you've traded Chase Young, and the only 2 pieces of the D-line that are left are Darren Payne, Jonathan Allen, and none of them had particular amazing year. I'm not saying they were bad, but they were definitely not elite. Let's check who are here. It's pretty much slide of just the guys. Here's like some of the former, some of the maybe future linebackers in this team. Answers that you brought to this situation in terms of free agency, and perhaps, definitely in terms of linebackers, your 2 big signings. So this is where we were before free agency started. Pretty much no edge rush to talk whatsoever. That needed to be addressed. Also, no linebackers whatsoever, because you kind of wasted Khalil Hudson on his rookie deal. He looked good, and in final games of last season, which were pretty much the first games that he was playing for Commanders, so that's why he's actually, in my view, good backup. But for 4 years, he didn't really get that many chances. And here is where we are right now. So Washington went and spent. Good, you really needed this. Like, there was some gaping holes, and you had the money, so going out and spending it, I like it. And it's a lot of signings that are connected to your new head coach in Dan Quinn. So we will start with Dorrance Armstrong, who is your highest acquisition or biggest acquisition in terms of D-line, and your edge guy, your pass rusher that you hope is gonna be your number one. I don't think he is that right now. To me, he's just a decent starter. Part of it is he didn't get that many opportunities in Dallas to actually show, because obviously that room in Dallas, it's nuts. Micah Parsons, hello. and it's not even him, it's not just him, obviously. And but here you have Dan Quinn, who have seen him in practice, who have coached him, and he obviously trusts him. And you are not paying a premium for him. Like, this is third year again. This to 27, 28. That's not his salary or his, it's just his cap hit. He's not signed for this year, so it's pretty much 3 years. Something like 35 up to 45 millions based on bonuses and incentives kind of deal. And yeah, I like it. Ideally, he is your number 2. So if you had Montesquieu here, you would feel much better. But he definitely has the potential that can be fulfilled going forward. And I feel like this is the position you will address in the draft, most likely in that second round anyway. So I feel this is really good place for him. Like, you can show you are the guy, and kind of you tie this to Dan Quinn, and he's your guy. Show us that you can make him excellent. Then you brought Clelin Ferrell and Dante Fowler, former first round picks that really did not pan out to be the top guys in the NFL. You are bringing them very cheap, 1 year veteran deals, paying $7 million for both of them as your number 3, number 4 options. You know, maybe they have their breakout season finally, and you have steals in them for that 1 year. And if they are just what they are, or what they showed in NFL, yeah, they are good number 3, number 4 option. Again, I feel like you are kind of missing the high-end number 1. And another signings were obviously made to the linebackers room. Here we talk about Frankie Lou and Bobby Wagner. Again, Bobby Wagner, why is he here? Why are you not in Seattle? I really wanted you to end your career in Seattle, but obviously that's not what Mike McDonald wants to do. It's more about coverage guys, and Bobby Wagner lacks in coverage because of his age. But I feel like he is still a tackling machine, and he is veteran experience. Obviously, worked with Dan Quinn in the era of Legion of Boom in Seattle, so he knows what to expect, and he can definitely be a solid piece for this forming defense and kind of help Dan Quinn to reform this defense quite nicely. With Frankie Luvu, you are getting actually quite a cheap deal, I would say. Like 3 years, again, about 30 millions. These two numbers are not representing of the salary for that year. He needs to be resigned for them. This is just a cap hit. But that's pretty much a good deal for a guy that I really believe is a very good starter. And yeah, really like the deal. I would give it like an A. And with this, I hope you could still somehow bring Kari Hudson for like 1 year, 1.5 million type of deal to prove himself, to teach from a guy like Bobby Wagner. Maybe, going forward he can be your second linebacker there. How do I view this as a whole? Let's make it more 50 guys showing their faces. So here's their age group. Yeah, I really feel like you want to spend the second round pick here. I mean, guys like Job Robinson, if they're up there, why not? Like, I like the fit. You would have quite a deep room, and any one of them you have kind of like good floor, some upside type of room that it's not gonna be like a huge liability, and it could be not actually your strength, but something that you can kind of count on. And in terms of inside, Darren Payne, Jonathan Allen, I feel like they are the highest paid duo of inside defensive linemen in one team. They're definitely very good players. Like, I don't want to take anything away from them, but I feel like, to me, they're oscillating between very good starters and amazing starters, while more being paid as they would be an amazing starters, no drop-offs, and potentially could reach that elite level. So yeah, I mean, you're obviously happy to have them, but with their contracts, I'm not sure there is that much. Like, it's not value contracts. I think like we are paying them either as they should be paid or slightly higher. Overall, this group, or combining these two groups together, it's a mid ground. It's not the best groups in the league. Probably don't have some like the craziest upside because you kind of know what you are getting with a lot of these players. Maybe a guy like KJ Henry could break out, or Fidaris Matis. But overall, yeah, it really seems like you are getting what you saw from these guys. It's a good play. It's like borderline top 10 in terms of ranking this group combined. But it's not elite. It's not like what you would thought about this like a year ago, especially about this D-line. Probably nothing to add. And we are heading towards secondary. Emmanuel Forbes, Jatavis Martin, Benjamin St-Just, Kai Blue Kelly, Kendall Fuller, Cameron Curl, Percy Butler, Jeremy Chin, Jeremy Reeves. I was thinking about like adding a picture of a guy like shirtless. But maybe for maybe I can get some human viewers that would appreciate this much more than I do. But yeah, it's kind of reminiscent of what like DK Metcalf and Coach Carroll meeting. So I felt like, why not? And Jeremy Chin like showing his beautiful hair and amazing teeth. Why not? Again. Overall, this is where we were before free agency, and this is where we are right now. So, yeah, this room is not great. Where should we start? Okay, we start with cornerbacks. And he's a guy that I actually made a topic of conversation, one of the 3 big topics that we should talk about when addressing the Commanders. And that's Emmanuel Forbes. He was picked, like I think was 16 for 15 pick last year, so pretty high in first round, first cornerback in the 2023 draft. And he's just light. He's just so light. I think it's 165, 160 pounds. So when you saw him against AJ Brown, it was nasty, man. It just like, first of all, defensive coordinators, you are not seeing that cannot be the matchup for Emmanuel Forbes. And second, I mean, even there you need to do better, man. Like, you need to do better. So he was kind of drafted for the scheme that Ron Rivera wanted to run, in which you could hide his like lack of playing strength. And now the scheme might change. So it's gonna be very interesting to see what the Forbes' career is gonna actually look like going forward, because he kind of showed that he cannot play press. He just doesn't have the physicality to do that. But he also just a year ago spent its high first round pick on him. So you cannot just like not use him. So it's gonna be very interesting what they will do with him. He tries to put some muscles on, but I still don't feel like he can do like that much to be the physical presence. Probably needs to gain at least something so he cannot be just bullied hard around. Especially in the division when you have guys like AJ Brown. Yeah, Emmanuel Forbes, really interesting how they will see him going forward, how they will use him, and one of the things to watch, and especially when you hired defensive coordinator, you expect him to figure this out. He kind of needs to, right? Because as bad as he was, like with his draft pedigree, he is like kind of my highest cornerback in this room. I feel like Jatavius Martin played better than Forbes last season, but obviously you have the draft difference that kind of makes the difference in terms of how I rank these guys, because I don't diminish the years that they spent on college, the way they looked. They are projected in the draft stock, draft pedigree. Obviously, as we move from the draft, this will count for less. But as for both these guys, we are just entering year 2. It has a much higher impact to my grades rather than just how they looked last season. So Jatavius Martin actually outplayed his draft pedigree or his draft stock or whatever we want to call it. And with Benjamin St-Juste having kind of hard year, Kai Blue Kelly just probably not being the answer, you have the room that I feel like could be a problem. You know, the floor is definitely, it's probably one of the lowest floors in terms of cornerback rooms all over the league. I'm not entirely sure that I would say it's the lowest, but in terms of pure floor, it's gonna be down there. I feel like I can, bottom 5 in terms of floor, they are there. But obviously, this group is made. We have defensive coach, and we believe in the upside of these players. So, good luck. Good luck, Washington. That could be ugly. And if we are sitting here next year and wondering what went wrong, that Commanders again have like top 3 pick, I feel like this room might be the case. What went wrong? In terms of safeties, it seems like they are letting Cameron Kurgol. He had down year in his contract year, and given the state of like safety market, I'm not opposing this move. I feel like he still would be probably the best safety here, because Jeremy Chin, one, is he a safety or is he a linebacker? You can. I feel like they will use him as this hybrid role, playing in the box, and not like just a pure safety guy. And in terms of Jeremy Reeves, in terms of Percy Butler, you again have guys that ideally they are not your starters, but obviously they have some upside. All of them are on rookie deals, and you pretty much have very young room overall. I feel like overall when you combine cornerbacks and safeties, it's probably it has to be right. I feel like it has to be the lowest floor in the league. But you have an amazing defensive head coach in Dan Quinn, and you have the potential, and you are banking on that. So that's pretty much what you do with this room. But again, I can see a lot of things going really wrong here. And let's just talk for a while about the coaches. And the situation with Commanders was they thought they were getting Ben Johnson from the Lions as the offensive head coach, as the offensive guru of one of the most fun offense just being run in the NFL in Detroit. And he turned them down kind of last second. A lot of people are not happy about how he handled this situation, because it's kind of the second year in a row when he declined head coaching jobs. And this time he actually did it in like kind of weird way, because it seems like they were flying to sign the contract with him, and midway through he was like, not doing this. No, I'm not doing this. I want to stay in Detroit. So great news for Lions. Not really sure if this will make an impact on Ben Johnson's career, and I feel it will. But unlike a lot of people, I disagree that Dan Quinn is a bad hire or a panic hire. And I actually like this hire. Not more than I would like Ben Johnson, because Ben Johnson, Drake May, love the connection. You want your huge asset in your future QB to be like mesh with offensive guru, but I feel like the situation in Washington with Dan Quinn is as it stands. You have very bad secondary in terms of floor, in terms of their actual quality right now, but they have a lot of potential. And you hope him and Joe Witt, whom he brings from Dallas as his defensive coordinator, they can rectify the situation. Also, you kind of hope that they will maybe they will push Jonathan Allen and Darren Payne to that, this is the best inside duo in the NFL that maybe you hope they will be, you're paying them to be in a way. And you want these, I would say, this investment in terms of young secondary that you invested a lot in terms of draft, and the D-line in which you've invested both a lot in terms of former picks and in terms of money. And these two guys, I think, combined could make this defense very good. And it's not very good right now, especially that secondary. And for the offense, there is a hire that I feel like kind of adds to the mystery of Commanders this year, and kind of to a lot of people will be, they are doomed, because they will think about Cliff Kingsbury as the head coach of Arizona Cardinals. And I feel like you need to think of him as just the offensive coordinator, because as a head coach he failed. He was not doing great job with the draft, with like his influence over signing players, drafting guys, trading for guys. He was overpaying. To me, he kind of had like this tunnel vision. I have a vision for this guy. I have a vision how this is gonna work with Kyler Murray, how this offense is gonna be exceptional, and he kind of didn't thought about the value overall in terms of draft, in terms of trades, and when his vision for the player just didn't reach the expectation that he had, it really started to fall spectacular in Arizona. But as an offensive coordinator, I actually kind of enjoyed the Arizona offense back in the day. Obviously, a lot of it is about Kyler Murray, but I feel like there were some creative stuff. They sometimes way too creative, but I chose this picture just because I found out that Patrick Mahomes actually praised Cliff. I think it was sometimes along this hire, and say like, I own this man a lot in terms of my career. He really helped me as the guy that was my coach in college. And the good thing about this hire for Commanders is usually when you have offensive coordinator like Lions have Ben Johnson, there will be a lot of teams interested in them if they are exceptional, right? But I feel like even if Cliff Kingsbury is exceptional, it's gonna be a while before he gets a job as the head coach because of the way how things ended up in Arizona. And I feel like you kind of see it even like in terms of like Dan Quinn, because as a defensive coordinator, he's been doing an amazing job for a long time. But people will bring the Atlanta Falcons, blown Super Bowl. That's gonna be how they view him as a head coach. And I feel like that's a huge part of why they do, there's a lot of pushback on this hire. Especially when, fans wanted Ben Johnson, it was kind of almost there. And then this feels like you were stuck and you needed to like a panic buy. But to me, this is really not a panic buy, and I actually like this hire quite a lot for what it is, especially in combination with Cliff. So sneakily, to me, this is actually a good hire. In terms of your special teams, again, this is not presumably going to be your where you find the edge. Stressway, like once upon a time, he would be that guy. Right now, he might be struggled to stay in the league. He didn't really show that much last couple of seasons. Ben McManus, I think, is a solid option, good kicker, but again, he's not like your top 5 kickers in the NFL. So that would be rundown for this whole situation. And just 1 second before we just move to the start, so you can again see some of the guys for the viewers that actually watch these videos. If you somehow or some way, I hope you do, if you like these cards, you can let me know. I will let you know how to make them and credit person that kind of showed me the way in terms of YouTube video, because like I said in video number 1, I'm definitely not nice, techy guy, and I'm just glad that they look quite good, you know, at least in my opinion, but you can obviously shatter that if you want to in the comments. Okay, that takes a lot. I maybe should have done something about it. Okay, so in terms of topics to discuss, we've talked about Emmanuel Forbes quite a lot. We touched the blind side actually quite a lot, because again, I will come back to I don't understand why you released Charles Leno. I've talked about it a lot. Here I'm gonna just reiterate. To me, it's actually such a bad move that I wanted to make this topic of discussion. Because why do you cut the guy that should be protecting your greatest asset? With the financials, no. And let's talk about future, because as you see, I feel that actually the future for the Commanders looks bright. Why? I think Drake May is a guy that could be very good starting QB in NFL. So that's point number 1. Point number 2, I think if you are a Commanders fan, you already know what I'm going to say. Like the change of ownership last season, breath of fresh air. You don't have to figure out every nonsense that come out of that building, what kind of scandal is gonna go next week or the week after. So yeah, I feel like you are absolutely happy that you have a new ownership. First summer, first proper summer with this team, they went out, they spent. Maybe they didn't get your guy in terms of head coach, you know, they didn't get Ben Johnson. But other than that, I don't think you can argue that they showed they are committed. They showed that they want to bring Commanders and Washington to better places in terms of NFL. And where is your window? When do you know, when we talk about road to Super Bowl, when you will win the Super Bowl? I'm not gonna guarantee you winning it, but I feel like your window for this year is definitely shot. I don't think it's even 1% chance that Washington is gonna be Super Bowl win this year. Next season, I feel like if there are big ifs, but if Dan Quinn is as good as I think he is, if he can work out that secondary especially, if he can maybe just tune up a bit Darren Payne, Jonathan Allen, if Darren Armstrong, climbs up, shows that he can be number 1, then maybe this next year your window is starting to open. Because in terms of your division, Dallas will need to pay Micah Parsons. They will need to pay CeeDee Lamb. Dak Prescott's gonna want a new contract. And just in these 3 guys, you can have 160 million tied. And with that, it's gonna be quite hard to be as good as Cowboys are right now, because obviously CD and Micah are on very cheap deals comparing to what there will be in years to come. Giants are in kind of mess of their own. I feel like in terms of rebuild, I would fancy your situation rather than Giants. So, they're on the same. Maybe your windows will like coexist, but I feel like you have better starting spot. And in terms of Eagles, like, I feel like the Eagles' conversation about their future is actually gonna be quite interesting because if they are what they were last couple of games last season, then you are not worrying about them, right? And even if that's not the case, if they come back to where they were like first 10 games, they are getting old, man. Like, obviously Jason Kelsey, goodbye, man. Like, was really pleasure to watch you. It's a pleasure to listen to you. Love your podcast. But yeah, the whole team, the veterans there, they are getting old, and it's gonna be hard to replace them, especially because I think a lot of them took under market type of deals in order to, make it again, get into the Super Bowl within that crew. But that crew is getting very, very old. Just by NFL standards, I mean, they are on average like as old as I am. So I'm not saying they are like old guys, but yeah, in terms of NFL standards, they are getting there. So yeah, I feel like Eagles will try to come back this season very strong, and I feel like they have makings of that. Maybe 2025 still, but unless they do a really, really good job in terms of drafting, developing, and replacing this smoothly, I feel like their spiral is like going down. So in terms of this division, I feel like 2026 could be a year that, hell, you might be favored to win the division. I feel like, yeah, really the trajectory of Dallas and Philly, because of the stuff I mentioned, should be slightly going down, and Giants may be going up, but really I feel like they are in a worse position to do that. Yeah, I really can see you being the top dog of the division as early as 2026. So I feel like that's where you moving the money, that's where you try to optimizing the contracts, and it's Drake May entering year 3, 2026. That would be his first season. You still have Terry McLaurin in his prime, signed through. Yeah. And in terms of if the secondary works out, you have these guys also on rookie deals. So I feel like 2026 could be actually years that Commanders could enter as top 5 team in the NFL. So a lot of ifs. We are trying to predict the future. We are trying to see where the trajectory is pointing at. But yeah, to me, quite good of season. Not necessarily amazing because there were some moves I didn't like. You didn't get the guy that would be in my head a better head coach, but I feel like Dan Quinn actually might even be better. Probably not. Might be even better for this situation specifically with the secondary and with the defense and what they're trying to do. And complemented with Cliff, hopefully. I don't see Cliff Kingsbury getting a head coaching job like pre-2026 season. So I feel like if things going to work out, you are not worried that they will self-implode because you will miss your defensive head coach or you will lose your offensive coordinator. So future is bright, I feel. And as soon as 2026, I trust in you, Commanders. And is that it? Yeah, I think guys it is. So this is it for today. Maybe not for today because I am crazy enough to do another episode today, but this is it for Commanders. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. Please let me know down in the comments whether you liked something or if you dislike something. How do you view my takes on the team, on the players, maybe on the signings? Maybe give me some clearance or why cutting Charles Leno is actually a good move for this team. And see you guys with the next one. It's gonna be Patriots. Hope to see you guys there. Bye.